Before we talk about Justice League, I just kind of want to show off these Justice League posters I have. There's Aquaman, right over there is the Flash. Over here is Cyborg, and right over there is Batman and Wonder Woman. Yep, I still have these posters. They're pretty cool. Justice League, another movie in the DC Extended Universe that everyone hates, and I seem to be the only person that loves this movie. Hell, I'll even call this the second best movie of 2017, right behind Logan. Yeah, that's right, I think this movie is better than Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 combined. Fight me. But anyways, Justice League is not that bad of a movie. And yes, it does have its flaws. It's obviously not as epic as the Avengers, and it definitely copies the plot of the Avengers. I mean, it is directed by Joss Whedon. But that's not to say that there isn't anything good about this movie. Even though they don't get that much screen time to get that much character development, we still get enough characterization for Aquaman, the Flash, and Cyborg. Cyborg is an introvert, alright? He doesn't like the fact that he's been bestowed these weird powers, and wishes he could be back to normal. But when duty calls, Cyborg goes to the rescue. Then there's the Flash. The Flash is just a guy who wants to get his father out of jail. And he's got powers, so he wants to do everything he can to do good, and he's a bit of a social awkward kid, but luckily Batman helps him, and by the end of the movie, the Flash is a hero. And then there's Aquaman. He doesn't really belong in either worlds, the human world or the Atlanteans, but despite the fact that he doesn't belong in either world, he's willing to protect both because he feels like he's being a part of something bigger. So even though the Justice League isn't, as fully fledged as any other incarnation, they still have enough characterizations to make them very likable. And there's also Batman and Wonder Woman, who continue their arcs from their previous movies. Batman is now less of a killer. I mean, it's definitely grown on him that he shouldn't lose hope, and now Batman is more lighthearted. He's starting to become the Batman we all know and love. I'm surprised people really don't like the fact that Batman is lighthearted. I mean, it makes more sense because in Batman vs Superman, his character arc was to be, well, less brutal. And now, he's less brutal. He's actually starting to work with others. And there's Superman, who finally becomes Superman. He's finally acting like the Christopher Reeves Superman, so that's a plus. So even though the plot is pretty much the same as the Avengers, I will say the Justice League actually have good characterization that makes this movie worth it. If you don't like the plot, that's fine. If you consider the special effects subpar, then I don't blame ya. Although, to be honest, when I first saw this movie, I didn't notice Superman's mustache problem until much later. I would even say years until the movie came out because, well, I just didn't think it was that bad. I mean, it was really only noticeable at the end of the movie where Flash and Superman were racing. Yeah, you can obviously notice that something is up on his lips, but otherwise, I never noticed Superman's upper lip problem. I never noticed it, believe it or not. And I was so confused, I'm like, why is everyone complaining about Superman's no mustache thing? Oh, good old times. So yeah, you may consider the special effects subpar, you may think the plot is pretty generic, and Steppenwolf is not that interesting of a villain, you can consider all that. But hey, Steppenwolf is still pretty menacing and creepy, which honestly makes him a bit of a badass, and I still remember him. I mean, I remember him enough to know his name, Steppenwolf. And the characters of Justice League, they are the ones that carry this movie. They are the ones that make this movie worth watching. And yeah, overall, Justice League is a pretty overhated movie. In fact, a lot of the movies in the DC Extended Universe seem to be overhated. Well, except for Suicide Squad, that movie definitely deserves the hate. I think the reason why people don't like these movies is because, well, I mean, aside from the fact that it's nothing like how Marvel does it, it's also the fact that it's a bit different. We're not used to seeing Batman killing people. We're not used to Aquaman being actually cool. We're not used to seeing the Flash so socially awkward. But if you get used to it, you realize that there's a lot of heart behind these movies. And yes, Justice League is kind of a rush movie because of executive meddling, but that's not to say they didn't try to put effort into the movie. It's pretty clear that there was some heart put into this movie. Joss Whedon did the best he can, even if he did made this more of an Avengers movie. Overall, yeah, I kind of wish we kind of get the Snyder Cut. It probably would have been better. But either way, I like the movie we got, alright? It may not be perfect, but I love this movie. I consider it a great movie of 2017. It was my most hyped movie of 2017, and I came out very satisfied seeing the Justice League come together on the big screen. It was just badass. Well, I think I've said enough about this movie. Next time, we're going to be taking a look at what is possibly the first DCEU movie that really takes off the universe, because Aquaman, oh boy, it made $1 billion. Oh, but I'll save that for the Aquaman review, alright? In the meantime, I'll catch you next time.